College football playoffs released, the first unveiling. I think it was a number that was circulated that if you look back over the first three editions, meaning 2014 and 15 and 16, the first week, only out of those 12 spots did 5 of those teams move on to the actual college football playoff, and Ohio State being the classic case of a team moving from 16 all the way into the Final Four and win the national championship. Did anything strike you as being odd, or maybe showing us what the committee's hand is and what they truly value?
I think they like for us to talk about things. I think they like discussion. Clemson, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. I don't, either or. It'll figure its way out. Clemson's got a fun game against North Carolina State tomorrow. Ohio State's still got a little bit of a gauntlet. Obviously, the big game nationally tomorrow is Oklahoma State. It'll work its way out. I don't think that was a big deal. Wisconsin being so far down, but maybe that catches your attention because they are undefeated. But look, again, this thing we always talk about Armageddon the first time the poll comes out, and it never comes true. I love talking about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people who boo-hoo it. But let's be honest, this thing's going to work its way out. Notre Dame's got Miami still to go, and Stanford. Miami's got Virginia Tech and Notre Dame. These things will work their way out. So I think sometimes that first poll is just shock and awe. Let's see what we can get people to talk about. But even then, I didn't think there was something too drastic for us to be nitpicky over.
So the ultimate Armageddon is Georgia, Alabama run the table. They're undefeated. Then they play a razor-close championship game, so you can't leave either one of the two out. Clemson runs the table. They've got one loss. They're highly respected. So is Ohio State. Let's say Oklahoma does as well. And then you've got Notre Dame. So that's the Armageddon, is you've got the 4 conferences plus the 1 in the SEC and Notre Dame. But there are going to be upsets. Or the other Armageddon is that there are so many upsets that you got a bunch of 2-loss teams that factor in. So you don't see any of this actually coming to fruition, that the committee has to sit there and look at 2 blue bloods like Ohio State and Oklahoma, or Ohio State, Clemson and Oklahoma, and say, we can only let 1 in. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I do think it'll work its way out. I think the Big 12 is going to cannibalize itself between TCU and Oklahoma State, and then the conference championship game. I think Ohio State, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Notre Dame's the one that fascinates me the most, because if you get Clemson that wins, here's the worst case scenario. Clemson wins out, Oklahoma wins out, and Ohio State wins out. Very realistic there to go along with Alabama. Okay, Georgia loses. That's easy. You take the 4 conference champions. But how do you leave a one? Listen, if Notre Dame wins out, how do you leave a 1-loss Notre Dame out? Do you say, well, you don't play in a conference, we're going to leave you out? That's Armageddon. And that's the most realistic of every scenario. Or Oklahoma State. Whoever wins tomorrow, if Oklahoma State were to beat Oklahoma and beat TCU in the Big 12 championship and run that thing out, and you have the SEC champion, which would be Alabama, Ohio State's run out, Clemson's run out, and Oklahoma State, and you got a 1-loss Notre Dame, that's Armageddon. That's more realistic than anything else. That's where it gets really entertaining.
But even if Notre Dame kicks out one of those other teams and they justify it because of the difficult schedule, Georgia can always say, we beat that team and we've got the same record. We actually have 1 more win than that team because we had to play in a conference championship against the best team in the country.
This is committee member Bill Gunner telling you that you take the conference champion. You didn't win your conference championship. I'm sorry. That's part of the criteria. Committee member Bill Gunner says conference champion. You're not in. You can't get it. I'm with you 110%, but you got to take a conference champion.
All right. Will Gunter, the all-new early game, 107.5 The Game, us always supplying some South Carolina talk, and we like to kick around the national scene as well. Will, we appreciate the time.
Enjoy it, man. You have a great weekend. Should be a fun day tomorrow.